I'm actually pretty excited about this. The visionary CTO. Visionary. The visionary. CTO. I'm pretty excited. Forgot to turn off alerts. You're welcome, everybody. My 20-year career is technical debt or deprecated. Deprecated should be my middle name. Technical debt is easily the most buzzword or the most used buzzword these days. People say we are moving fast and on our MVP while minimizing technical debt. They mention technical debt in there to sound cool or something. I laugh because everything is technical debt eventually. Okay, I like this take so far. My entire career is now technical debt, or the code has been deprecated. If you don't believe that your entire career will also be technical debt, you might after you read this article. I'll walk you through how things have changed over my 20-year career. All I have to say is Falcor, right? It's been taking us years to kill that thing. Not only did I create something terrible at Netflix, its spread to every platform is awful. But I will say the one thing that I did do at Netflix that spread to every platform but is not technical debt and people like it and keeps growing is I did perf traces. That's the way to do it. So I did Google Trace events, right? Little Google Trace events business. And then after that, wherever they call it, the trace event format. There you go. They put it in a Google Doc. Right? And we made this the basis, and then I started keeping the performance differences between various screens of Netflix and how things are loading, and showed like multi-second startup issues, all because people just never measured properly. So I measured production, and now it's used all the time. It's fantastic. Happy I did that. Oh, literally Google Trace. Yeah, it's literally a Google Doc, and it's called the Google Trace format. Yeah, Trace event format. Beautiful. Anyways, all right, let's keep on going. So that's like my only accomplishment that hasn't been deprecated. Everything else I've ever done has been deprecated. Like everything. My entire career is now technical debt, or the code has been deprecated. Yeah, we already read this. Okay, I was basic at first. My career started as a Visual Basic 6 developer. I built several different apps from 1999 to 2003. I think you can say that anything in Visual Basic 6 by today's standards is technical debt or has been long replaced already. Long lived on-air resume next. By the way, on-air resume next. Again, why am I getting triggered today with RxJS? If I'm not mistaken, RxJS on-air resume next. I swear I am being RxJS triggered. What are you guys doing? Why are you guys doing this to me? Why? What is the... This is cyberbullying, okay? This is cyberbullying, and I don't like it. I spent a lot of time doing classic active server pages, ASP development. Oh, man, I did that too at one time. I was also an expert in making websites with Internet Explorer 6 and Netscape Navigator. It doesn't mean much on my resume anymore. It does. It means a shit ton to me. I want you to know that when I see someone who's done this, I know they've seen some shit, okay? And it means a lot to me. Because I know for a fact that they're going to be thinking about things way different than someone who's never experienced it. That means they had to build everything they had to do artisan crafting, which means that maybe the exact skills aren't useful anymore, but the knowledge, how things work, the under-the-hood approach totally is there. I did and seen some shit. Exactly. You're just a different person. You're built differently. When things go wrong, you have a different way of looking at it because you've seen it from the bottom up. Wow. Visual Basic, ASP, IE6, and Netscape are all long forgotten technologies, as Strong Bad would say back then. Delorted? I don't even know what that term means. Old languages, Perl, Delphi, Fortran, FoxPro, and Cold Fusion. Woo! These are some weird-ass languages. By the way, that was weird, space, ass dash languages, okay? There are a lot of programming languages that have fallen out of favor over the last 20 years besides Visual Basic 6. Odds are if you built with anything in these languages, people are trying to figure out how to rewrite it because it is hard to find programmers for those languages. Perl, Delphi, Fortran, FoxPro, Cold Fusion. I thought Cold Fusion was a YouTube channel. It's more than just a YouTube channel. Do apps still exist in them? Yes. Can you hire people to do it? It's tough. In most circumstances, those companies must modernize and retire the old apps. In the early 2000s, people thought Adobe Cold Fusion was the hot thing. Do you remember a little rise to stardom? I actually don't. Ruby on Rails is also in jeopardy of being added to this list. Oh. obligatory DHH reference. It has fallen out of favor, and it is tough to find developers for it. What once was made unique is now available in other languages. Reasonable. Programming languages come and go. Developers don't want jobs learning skills that aren't in demand. It always is a balance of supply versus demand. Developers jump ship quickly and always want the hot new thing on their resume. Sometimes. That's not always true, but I get that. I know C++ is getting harder and harder to hire for, right? Like, just in general, it's harder and harder to hire for. We are currently decommissioning the last Visual Fox Pro. Really? You had Fox Pro? You have active Delphi projects? Damn. It is harder and harder. C++ is hard. Especially when a lot of applications hide all that. Like, with Rust, you'd hide so much of the problems that exist due to inheritance and the way C++ does things. And so it's like it becomes obtuse to learn these things. Some of the first apps I used, ActiveX controls on Internet Explorer 6. At that time, they were required to do printing and other very insecure, hacky things. PDFs were not as common back then, and printing from the browser was its own fun nightmare. Java applets, this is where I started! This is how I learned how to program. This is where I discovered good double buffers. Oh, man, this is really when my programming really got in, okay? We're also a big-time thing once upon a time. They were slow, and having the correct version of Java installed on your computer was always a mess. I'll never forget the nightmare of dealing with networking firewalls that required Java applets. I don't miss those nightmares, and luckily, it faded away. Of course, we all remember Macromedia Adobe Flash. At one point, it was a darling child of the entire internet. I remember going to a conference where some of the talks were about making Adobe Flash, what was it? It was called ActiveScript 3 or whatever it was able to still run in browsers. Like, it was called like Ratatouille, if I'm not mistaken. Ratatouille? I know that's the rat. I don't know how to spell Ratatouille. How does anyone know how to spell Ratatouille? Ratatouille, active. Is it called ActiveScript? What is it called? ActionScript? ActionScript 3. I swear there was something. Maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. Okay. It was called something like Ratatouille, but I cannot remember it. Damn. I mean, this is maybe it's changed since then, but it was something like that. That doesn't ring a bell for me. It was from Web Filings, now known as Workiva. Anyways, it doesn't mean anything to anybody, right? It was a fever dream. Microsoft came out with a competitor to Flash called Silverlight. It was actually a pretty fantastic framework for C# developers. Most companies built really amazing things with Silverlight. As we all know, Apple ended Flash and Silverlight by dropping their support in browsers. Here's a screenshot of the finance calculator we built with Silverlight in Vin Solutions over 10 years ago. Silverlight is now long gone and they rewrote it all in JavaScript, but it is not as cool as this version. That gives me such 2005 vibe websiting. Look at that. That is such 2005 website vibes. Dude, it looks so good. Look at that goodness, though. Come on. My first mobile app. I built my mobile app in 2004. It's hard to remember that, but the iPhone and Android didn't exist then. I wrote an application for the compact PDAs for tracking inventory for car dealers. It was written in C# for the .NET Compact framework to run on Windows CE. This PDA piece of dang ass had a 1 megapixel camera. Those photos were only slightly terrible as long as it was cloudy outside to remove the glare. Boy, has technology changed. This app went on to the boneyard long ago, but it was cutting edge in 2005. Look at that, VinBuddy. What a name, VinBuddy. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love this. This is so good. These are all things that, like, people did this stuff. This is real, people. Okay, this is real. Swift is another excellent example of how fast development tools change. As soon as Apple released Swift, it was hard to justify writing code in Objective-C anymore. I'm sure there are some use cases where it's still needed. I wrote an entire multi-threaded application in Objective-C. And guess what that application was? You want to know? In 2013, when I was at this conference, you know what I thought? I thought this exact. If there was a gift to have my mentality, this was true in 2013. Okay, this was true when I saw it. I was just like, man, you're chasing the wrong problem here. I hate to tell you this. Dude, this gift freaks me out. You know the one where it's just like you're constantly falling into her mouth? Oh, gosh, that one just freaks me out. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, I wrote multi-threaded Falcor. I wrote multi-threads with Objective-C. I am sure there are some use cases where it is still needed, but Swift is significantly easier to develop and a majority of evolutionary step forward. I would argue that any apps written in Objective-C are probably technical debt now. Yeah. After doing crazy inline scripts for building web apps, I was happy to start using ASP.NET Web Forms. Man, they went hard, and MVC was hard back in the day. 2010 was that? 2011? Their server-side controls made development significantly easier. Their goal was to make it easy to create web apps as you could in Visual Basic 6. What's your goal? We want to be as easy as Visual Basic 6. Oh my goodness, that hurts physically. That was fantastic. It worked. It mostly worked. You could build reusable UI components server-side and render them to the browser just like we do today with 100% JavaScript. Web Forms wasn't perfect, but it was a considerable upgrade, and it had a great run until Ruby on Rails came around and popularized MVC, Model View Controller frameworks for developing. MVC quickly deprecated all other web form apps we ever made. Yep. Anything in Web Forms is definitely technical debt, although the same idea is making a comeback with Blazor! I just want you to know, Microsoft, I'm just never going to use a product called Blazor. Okay? I'm just not going to use it. I'm just not going to use it. MVC is king for a while. I remember this ASP. I remember migrating an application to this. Before you knew it, every programming language supported MVC frameworks. We switched to doing everything new in ASP.NET MVC. It was everywhere, including Django, Laravel. Wait, Laravel's that old? Damn, Laravel's old. Taylor Otwell, Lamborghini Man's that old. Symfony, Spring, etc. Fast forward to today, MVC has fallen out of fashion. Everything is now done with React, Angular, Vue. Remember when React used to be sold as the V in MVC? Remember that? Yeah, I do. Before we had those, we had other JavaScript frameworks. At Stackify, we used Knockout, a recently popular front-end framework. Do you remember any of these frameworks? Knockout, Ember. Funny that we pretty much talked about all these today. It is more of an L now. It's less of a V, more of an L. Don't make fun of React, okay? Okay, that's like kicking the kid that's already down. That's not cool, okay? Once the fight, once someone's on the ground, you don't keep fighting, okay? We all know that. If you used any of them, I bet all that code is now considered technical debt and has fallen out of flavor. The first generation of front-end frameworks lost to React and Angular. Yawn! AngularJS. In 2015, Angular was created by Google and burst onto the scene. It quickly became the most popular front-end framework. Then in 2016, Angular went through a major upgrade and it was not backwards compatible. Guess what that means? Anything in the original version is now technical debt. I have projects at my company in the old version of Angular that is major technical debt. We must upgrade. Damn. Was migrating WinForms app to MVC. That is basically abuse. Abuse. The old dirty SOAP and what? Before REST APIs and JSON became the de facto standard, another option was SOAP, which stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, and it was made easy to call web services and automatically generate code proxy classes to correctly call the services. It was primarily used by Windows Communication Framework, WCF, over XML. This is disgusting what I'm hearing right now. I actually somehow avoided the SOAP days. I'm just like every good Arch user. I've never used SOAP. Okay? Never have I once touched SOAP in my lifetime. It worked awesome until it didn't. One of the worst projects of my career involved figuring out how to use security certificates between my company and another vendor over WCF and SOAP. The promise of SOAP and WFC was amazing, but it was a nightmare to maintain over time. SOAP and WFC are two things I don't miss. Microsoft decided no longer to support this. Okay, blah, 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 blah. We don't care. Over time, the types of technology we've used to call web services has changed. Older ways still work, but most people would probably prefer to retire them. Absolutely. SOAP, not even once. Another common problem is major programming language versions, be it Ruby, PHP, .NET, or others. They commonly require a bunch of code changes. Yes. Rust 2. When is Rust 2 happening? Rust 2. You know, I feel like that right now with all the Rust drama and everything that's going on, nothing would be a better tweet of when is Rust 2 happening? Hell yeah. This is gonna, someone's gonna read this. This one tweet is gonna result in at least a few people blocking me. You know it to be true. You know it to be true. When you do this kind of stuff, this emotionally damages people. People are gonna be like, no! No! Right? Oh man, it's so good. All the people that would have blocked you for that tweet have already done so. Actually, this is probably true. Am I the asshole? I'm not the asshole. Okay. Gosh, this stream tweeting is out of control. Do I got a hi chat Kappa? All right. Anyways, I thought I was gonna have a hi chat. Hi chat. All right. Web forms. Let's do this. All right, major versions. Yeah, all of this. However, in complex enterprise apps, there's many potential issues when navigating the upgrade path. That becomes a major technical debt that has to be figured out. Otherwise, you eventually get stuck. Yeah, this has happened to everybody I know forever, except for in JavaScript. Actually, even in JavaScript. What am I talking about? Who here has worked where there's like part of the application that's like still in JavaScript, not even in TypeScript or JSDoc? It's just like in this crazy JavaScript that you build all these classes with proto just the tipple inheritance, and man, you don't just get the tip with prototypal inheritance. Holy cow, that's full shaft debugging. Everybody knows that. Stuck on an old external... Oh, man. One of the biggest challenges we had at Stackify was getting stuck on an old version of Elasticsearch. At one point, they made some significant changes to how it worked and were not entirely backwards compatible. We used it very heavily, and all the work to upgrade it became a massive amount of technical debt and upgrade project. Damn. This is just, like, too close to my heart right now. We kicked it down the curb over and over and eventually got way behind. This is another example of real technical debt projects that can plague companies. Yeah. Like all of this, I've almost been through a huge portion of versions of this kind of stuff. At Stackify, I'm literally like right now, my entire tool I've built at Netflix that is making life easy is also making it impossible to run a service, and they're rewriting the entire thing. We're going to protobufs. Everything is changing. Like, you know, this is going to be a refactor from hell I'm going to have to go through extremely soon. I'm not ready for it. I'm like emotionally not ready for this. Open source alternative retired my code. At Stackify, we built our own tracing profiling libraries for 6 programming languages. It was an incredible amount of work to do that. Well, now we have open telemetry. Why we managed our own, you can use open source industry standard. Damn, open telemetry got... getting pwned. We used a closed version called Telemetry from Epic Games for a while at Netflix. It was really cool. Over time, you can see how almost everything you create... I actually added telemetry events from V8 into telemetry to measure how long garbage collection was taking, like at a really neat level. It was fun. It was super fun. Over time, you can see how almost every thing you create gets scrapped and replaced for various reasons, or is now based on older technology. Several apps I built early in my career were terminated because the companies were acquired and decided to use different technologies. Most software has limited lifespan that is shorter than you think. All code eventually becomes technical debt that everyone wants to rewrite in more modern way, or the business needs... Yeah, this is so good. Dude, this is so good. This is a good reason why you should just stop caring so much. But like some people get stuck on, like you see this, it comes out in various ways, right? New people get stuck on analysis paralysis, like how to do the best thing. Don't worry. Don't worry. Your code will be thrown away anyways. No one actually cares. You know what I mean? Second, this comes out in the other way, right? The architect, right, comes out describing the most beautiful future of all time. And then you throw away all the code. This has literally happened to me at Netflix, right? Granted, in corporate world, it is more likely to have internal app that seems to stay around forever. Something like Railroad or a major bank has been using the same mainframe-based software for 40 years. COBOL! COBOL, anybody? I predict WebAssembly will eventually overtake the front-end development is today, and a whole new era will evolve. Yeah. The reality of technical debt. People are always worried about minimizing technical debt when doing new projects. I understand that there's a balance between getting things to work and trying to make them perfect. However, nothing is technical debt because it isn't perfect. There is no such thing as... My goodness, what is this? Did I predict the future of this article? Okay, visionary CTO, maybe you are a bit of a visionary, okay? I'll give it to you this time. You're not a bad guy. I made fun of your name, and now look at you, okay? Now look at what you're saying. It's pretty good, okay? On the other side of technical debt is how extremely slow rots away over time. It either has significant issues with upgrading to the latest versions or technology ultimately falls out of favor because of newer ways to do things. Good luck hiring people for old tech stacks. Eventually, everything becomes technical debt or the projects get sunsetted. If you are lucky, your code survives long enough to be technical debt to somebody else. Two things here. Clear two takeaways. Number one, clearly he's not Tom. Tom's a genius. Okay, Tom is a genius. If you don't think Jay Diesel is both the past, the present, and the future, well, then you have a short grip on the English language with the word both there. And Tom is a virtuoso, okay? Tom is a virtuoso. You need to understand that. Second off, this is a great article. Take it to heart. Honestly, take it to heart. Love what you do today, but at the same time, don't care, right? Honestly, don't care. It's not a huge deal, right? I think styles are much more like better to like and to like them long term, right? Like I love traits in Rust. I want a programming language that I forever have the trait system in Rust. Like unless if I can find a better version of that, I don't want that. And so it's kind of one of those things where like there's styles that I think are really like long-term lived concepts. And then there's like the practical application of it. I don't care if I write something in Rust. I love the idea of Rust, right? Those are two very different concepts. And the takeaways you can have. OCaml, I want to try out OCaml. Tom W, Tommel, Haskell. Yeah, I know. That's how I feel about Haskell, too. Primegen, how to deal with a stupid choice the team took, like using C# on AWS Lambda. Quit. Duh. No, there is no, you can't. The thing is if you're a part of a team, the team makes the decision. If you don't like the decision, you have a couple different things you do. Deal with it. Try to change it. Leave the team, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. So which one are you going to do? There's not really more options out there. I mean, I guess there technically is a fourth option, which is quiet quit, but I don't think that's a great idea, right? Personally, I will not be a quiet quitterist. Okay, I'm just not a quiet quitterist. Okay, I want to just crush it, right? And I'm gonna crush it. All right. Prime, who is Tom? Oh, Tom's a genius. You should know this by now. Hey, the name is the Primegen.